Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to the Product Marketing Festival in APAC. With product marketing experts from Singapore, Australia, China mainland, Hong Kong, Malaysia, India, and many other regions. We'll be covering all product marketing aspects from sales enablement, go-to-market strategy, to customer onboarding, positioning, and messaging. We got them all. You are guaranteed to walk away with tons of new ideas and strategies to take your product to the next level. I would also like to take this chance to say a big thank you to all festival speakers. We cannot make this without you. Also, thanks for the support from iClick Interactive. Their presentation, Discover the Secret to Adapting Data-Driven Marketing in China, is scheduled at day 1 afternoon, 3:30 Singapore time. I highly recommend it if you have not signed up for it yet. Last but not the least, if you would like to interact with our speakers and other attendees, please join our group page link at the end. We look forward to the Q&A session and your feedback over there. Relax and enjoy the festival.
Hello everyone, my name is Anusha and I'm the Product Marketing Manager here at a company called Superhands based in Malaysia. Superhands is a company that provides high quality training data to a variety of companies across many industries around the world who are building machine learning models. First and foremostly, I would like to thank each and every one of you who have registered or attended my talk. I hope that I'm able to provide some valuable insights from my own journey, moving from a marketing-centric role to what I am now, being Product Marketing Manager here at Superhands. So to get started, I will share a little bit about my own experience or my own sort of background. I was in sort of the past, now I would say almost 6 years of my career, I've always been in a marketing job function and what I would call now a marketing-centric role. So in my roles, I've always done a lot on like campaign planning, social media, performance marketing, always very focused on growth, engagement, the consumers, leads, conversion and things like this. In my most recent role, before where I am now, I was the head of marketing at an e-commerce company here in Malaysia. And that's really when I reached the full end-to-end spectrum of looking at everything, as well as also looking after a team that included in that company designers as well as marketing. Designers from the aspect of designers, that role was really just to support the marketing team. So as I was making the shift I guess this opportunity came up to move from sort of the marketing-centric role into that specializing in the product at Superhands. And the thought of this opportunity for me was very exciting, to be able to spearhead, first and foremost, a new department in this company, a new job function, and bring in new processes to really champion the products was something that I thought was very intriguing, very exciting, and something that I never really thought about before as a job function. Now, while some of the things I do now as product marketing manager, I've touched on a little bit here and there on before in previous roles, things like, launching new products, doing go-to-marketing strategies, building the campaign, building like decks for the sales team in my previous roles. It was never something I really focused on that much again. And it's interesting how now I see that as my core job function and my core job role. And that shift has been something that has been an adjustment for me as well. So when I made that first move from head of marketing to product marketing manager, there were a lot of things that I didn't account for, a lot of learning curves that I didn't account for as well. I think the first one would be how differently the process and communication is going to be for me now because of my job function, interacting with different team members or different departments versus what it used to be. So think about it from the point of view as just marketing or head of marketing interacting with the sales team, interacting with the customer success team, interacting with product and tech and BizOps versus the product marketing role of interacting with the same couple of departments is very different, and it's not something that I thought would be very different. So, and I think this comes from also having to really change the thought process that goes behind being firstly in head of marketing and then being in product marketing. The thought process, I would say, is not something that I did prepare for it, but I think I didn't prepare enough because there was still a lot of adjustments that I felt I had to make myself in those initial couple of months of really coming to terms with it, of what do I do and how do I really contribute to the company in the way I used to before, because now it's a lot of new activities that I was not very used to, or new activities that I just never thought before as being the core of my role, is the easiest way for me to say it. The other aspect that I really had to adjust to was how do I communicate what my role means to these new departments. And like I mentioned earlier, this was a new department in the company as well. So not only was I adjusting to purely being a product marketing manager, now I was also needing to adjust to making sure that I was communicating what my role is or what my department does very clearly to all these other departments around me that interact with us. I think, so I guess how I addressed this, how I felt I addressed this when I first started, is I created a presentation deck. This deck was a very straightforward, very simple deck of what product marketing is and how it differs a little bit from what they're used to with the marketing team that already exists there. I outlined sort of things that they can expect from product marketing, how we would support each department, and sort of just to give them a little bit of an idea of what is product marketing or what's the importance of it. But what I didn't see is that because I was introducing a new department into a company, that wouldn't be enough. Just telling them that or sharing that by a presentation one-off wouldn't be enough. There would need to be a lot of continuous engagement about how my department would now interact with each of these new departments. There would need to be a lot of engagement to show the support that we can provide and how the support will be. So the one thing that I really struggled with in the beginning was managing the sort of expectations that would be set out there. Maybe as an example, I can share about the one process that was really something for me to, work with or smoothen out, was the communication or engagement process we had with our sales team. So because when we first started, I set out the expectation of how product marketing would provide the sales enablement material, because now this is part of our sort of core job responsibilities. There was also that kind of expectation that I didn't realize, but I had laid out, that we would be there to provide everything end to end whenever needed. So this was something that I had to learn how to really show the need for collaboration, communication, and to make sure that it's a collaborative effort as we go along, even for all the sales enablement decks, versus it being sort of a churning warehouse of us just continuously churning out sales enablement material based on everything that was there. Now, because this was also a relatively new department, and it still is, given if we consider how long Superhands has been there and how long the product marketing team has been there. It is still a new department. There was a lot of foundations that I had to put in place, which again led to me really having to think about what my role is, what my role does, how does it contribute to Superhands, and how I want to set the process of working with each department. So I guess to go more into detail about that, and just so that my insights are also more valuable to each of you who attended. Just going to recap a bit what a marketing-centric role is that I'm sort of going on and on about. So here, what I mean by a marketing-centric role is one that focuses the entire end-to-end function of marketing, or what we would typically associate with the marketing sort of world. So branding, positioning, campaigns, leads, and things I think I mentioned earlier. And to talk a little bit about how the roles differ. So for marketing manager, for example, the role would require you to distill who you are and what you do as a clear message. You want to find and execute the best ways to communicate this to your target customers and then get them to your doorstep, right? So this is something that was very clear to me. It was something that I felt, okay, I know how to do this based on my previous years of experience. And being a product marketing manager, these are new things that I had to adapt to. So understanding and predicting industry trends. So finding out first and foremostly how to be able to read and predict the industry better is something that I felt that I'm still learning how to do. I'm still learning how to be that best resource for my company, or how can I be that best resource for my company, knowing what our competitors are doing, and specifically with their products. I've done competitor analysis before. I've done the strategy analysis before, seeing sort of what they're doing in terms of investment, what they're doing in terms of their target audience, what kind of campaigns are they doing, what kind of branding are they putting out into the world. But I've never done it so laser focused on products. And how do I make that insight valuable for my team in a way that doesn't overlap with the existing product and tech team that are already there? How do I provide this without overstepping my boundaries? And then the last point, determining what you need to do with your products, be number one. So how do I focus sort of everything that I've learned throughout my career and readjust it to just be laser focused again on the products? So some of the key points in terms of moving from marketing centric to product marketing, I think things I just want to reiterate is that understanding what the role is great, but it always helps when everyone around you understands your role as well. And this is especially important for the departments that you're working with. So it was especially important for me to be able to build strong communication and processes with my sales team as well as my product team, because while as product marketing, we interact with a lot of variety of departments. These are the two departments that we interact with the most. Going into the product team and sort of trying to put yourself in pockets where you should be is a difficult process in itself. They already had their set processes and set ways that they do things and the set ways that they communicate. So to go in and sort of learn how to communicate on sort of with their language was something that I needed to learn as well, moving from marketing to product marketing. I feel like in my previous roles, it wasn't something that I really paid much attention to or focused much on. There was always like the product manager or someone for me to go to and ask questions, who would then go back to the tech team. I never really had to have direct communication with them. So it's not something that I paid special attention to. However, as I've moved into this role now, I've realized there's a very strong need for me and my team to build very strong relationships with the tech team. After all, we are championing everything that they are building. In order to be able to provide the sales and the business operations team a platform to understand the products, it's first important for me and my team to understand the products. And that understanding only comes with also understanding the product and tech team on the other side, to really understand why they do things the way they do, why they built something a certain way, what is the positioning that they intended to with this product. What are key takeaways that they want people to take away from this product that they've built? And how can I help this process? How can I help this communication process better? Is there something that I can do to help make sure that everyone in the team is aware of the importance of this product the same way the product and tech team does? And again, this is something that I've never thought of before as marketing manager. I felt like I just didn't have to think about it. It was never something that I had to focus on. And to now have to sit down there and think about all these questions to myself was really something that I struggled with in the beginning, because I felt like, what other questions are there that I'm not thinking about, that I should be thinking about and asking myself in order to really do my job to the best that I can. Um, and it was great to be able to also learn from people around in the industry, to really understand their own point of views about these kind of questions that need to be had in your head. You'll only be able to get the answers when you know what questions to ask. And if you don't know, then you also need to find out what questions you need to ask in order to get the questions that you need to know. I think this is something that's very valuable. And to everyone here, if you are making a move from, being example, in the content side, in the growth side, if you're just also, a generalist marketing executive or senior executive or even manager in whatever company you are, and you're thinking about making this move to product marketing or have recently made this move, it's very important, I think, for you to establish that really strong connection and build these processes with the people that you're working with directly. Um, Building rapport is extremely important in this role. You need to be able to understand your users, and in this sense, your users are not just your customers anymore, as they would in a marketing-centric role, where your goal is, to always satisfy your end users, your customers. Here, your end users and your customers are people within your team, and you have the first-hand platform in order to speak to them and get to know them and understand them better. But yeah. So I think some of the key things to always be aware of is understanding that there are some fundamental differences between marketing and product marketing. And while they may sit in the same department for some companies, they may not. To not take those differences for granted. Just be like, oh yeah, of course there's a difference. One is about, the team in general, one's about the product. But to understand that there are some fundamental differences that need to be acknowledged and accepted, and also communicated to everyone else in order to make this change easy or smooth this transition. It's also important to take time to share the knowledge about what your role does with your team. Your team being, if you are, let's say, for example, sit within the marketing team like I do, take that time to share with the team exactly what you do or how you can help them or how they can help you, and other teams as well. So, take the time to have that chat with your product team, be it like on a one-on-one or a casual chat, or even in an official meeting if it has to be, to explain to them and to figure out how you can work with them better. It's not going to be a one-size-fits-all for every company. I think even for me, what I read online, of how product and product marketing teams need to work together, or different strategies that you can put in place in order to make it smooth, is not so cut and paste. And that's also because within each company and within each department are individuals, and every individual has their own, unique way of consuming information, or unique way of communicating with other people. And it's important to take that as a factor, in order to make sure that your transition, your own experience, is as positive as it can be, and whatever feels like a negative at that moment is something that's taken as, what can I do about this, or how can I learn from this, or how can I improve it, make it better, not just for me but for the other parties involved. I think it's also very important to create a guideline of how product marketing works very specifically within the company you're in. Now, I say this because while I listed out sort of the things or what product marketing does in Superhands, and I shared it with the rest of the team, I don't think it was as clear cut as that. I don't think it can just be a copy paste situation by saying, yeah, product marketing, we do the competitor analysis, we do the sales enablement material, we do the go-to marketing strategies for products, and all these sort of other things that we do. I don't think it's enough to just lay that down and say, yeah, this is what we do, because that also doesn't help your understanding of it as you go along the line. Again, and this is just from the point of view of someone moving from marketing to product marketing, that sort of knowledge or foundation that takes a couple of years to build for you to just be able to think about something and adapt and adjust immediately. It does take time, and when you're new in something, you really need to lay everything out, but also understand how does it work to the specific context that you're in right now. And once you really understand this context of how it works for you, will you be able to share the same context with the people around you and really go up to let's say your head of sales and speak to them about, hey, this is what product marketing does, and this is what I can help you with, or my team can help you with, but let's really talk about how we can make this a collaborative relationship so that it can be a long-lasting relationship, and a relationship with as little friction as possible, or minimize friction for things that are repeated. If there is friction, it's always new learnings to take into versus sort of friction that is continuous and not evolving in a positive way, I would say. Yeah, so I think these are the things that need to be taken into consideration, and these are the things that I've really learned in my during the first year period of me transitioning from marketing into product marketing. I think for me personally, it's been a great journey. I don't regret making the transition or making the move from just general head of marketing to now being specific product marketing. I think it's really helped me grow different skills that I didn't think about before. It's really helped me become laser focused on building specific skills that I didn't think was such a vital part of my role in previous roles. And it's really helped me be able to learn the new ways of communicating with other people in the company, as well as how to adapt to challenges of communication in a whole different way, and communicating with new departments as well. Like I said, I never really had the reason to speak much to the product or tech team in my previous roles, and in this role, they are sort of the people I speak to the most, to understand their thought process as well of things, products coming up this year, roadmaps and things like that. So yeah, I think these are some of the things that have been really big learning curves for me. And I feel like once these basic fundamentals are thought about, are accounted for in a way, and I'm able to get over this hurdle, not just for me, but for the team members within my team, making sure I'm bringing them along for getting over these hurdles, because as the manager, they are my responsibility. I can't just be learning how to adapt and leave them in the dust. So I need to also make sure that not only am I bringing all these new communications and processes and things like that for myself, I need to make sure that I'm representing the department in that way as well. But I think it's an interesting, and it's something that I'm looking forward to see how it develops further for my career, how I'm able to grow even more from this, and how I can really champion a company from a really different perspective from what I used to do, a completely entirely different perspective, and champion it within my own team itself, first and foremostly, before I think about the end user even. So I hope that I was able to provide some learnings, sharings from my own experiences that helps anyone that is watching, if they are having the same questions in their head about how does this happen, how should I be able to do this, why is this frustration even happening, why do I feel more confused now even though it seems like the role overlaps and things like this. I hope that this was able to provide you with some, different ways about thinking about it, or different ways about thinking about how to tackle the challenges or obstacles you're feeling. If you need to, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to have more conversations or share more thoughts with you, or have more open-ended dialogues with anyone who's looking for it. Again, thanks for attending my talk. Thanks.